calendar's finally rolled over to October, and for once it's actually starting to feel like fall out. Today is Tuesday, October 7th. It's a high of about 63, 64 degrees. We got some rain this morning, which was good to see. Finally got a little bit more moisture put back into the area, but we still need some more. It's been really, really hot and dry so far. So we'll take some more moisture if we can get it. But for now, I'm not going to complain because of this nice, cooler fall weather. And we've got a good stretch of it coming up over the next week. Over the next handfuls of days, it's barely going to break 60 degrees. Heck, even tomorrow, I think it's only supposed to be a high of like 58 degrees all day long. So some cooler weather is much welcome to finally have. And I'm excited to be doing some grouse hunting for the next couple weeks. But before we get into hunting over the next couple days, I'm going to rewind back to last week when it was super hot out in the mid 80s for the first week of October. Very unseasonal, but it is what it is. That's what we had this year, super hot weather. And I did make it out to hunt a couple times. I was joined by my wife on a couple morning hunts before the weather got too hot. And we were finally able to connect on our first grouse of the year. I actually got 2 of them in one morning, so we're gonna roll into that hunt right now. And before that, I want to talk just a little bit about the area I went and hunted that morning. And if you've followed along with any length of time here, you know that this part early through middle of the season, I really pound home talking about hunting open areas, spots that aren't just young aspen cuts, thick brush. I don't like going into that kind of stuff until later in the year. And the spot that I hunted that morning was like the perfect example of what I talk about, of just some sparse open cover. It was surrounded by some jack pines on the side and then a stand of red pines on the back of it. And on the inside of this cover, it was just some sparse young aspen with some hawthorn mixed in. And I went in there hoping to just at least find a bird or 2. And we did find a bird, and I got a really good shot at that bird. And that's what I look for in these spots. I'm not going in looking for bird numbers. I'm looking for quality shooting opportunities. I'm not going to always find the most birds in these spots, but what I am going to get is really good opportunities at the birds we do come across. So this time of the year, I like looking for shooting opportunities over number of birds. And that's just, that's part of how I hunt and a big thing I look for early in this season. So right now we're gonna roll into that. You guys are gonna get a first-hand look of what that cover looks like and some of the success we had that day. And then from there, I'll meet you guys back here and we'll talk about where I'm gonna go hunting this evening and over the next couple days. Aspen. She's on point right there. Come here. Look straight through there. Can you see her? She's kind of angled towards us.
No, it's okay. I'll follow you.
Aspen. Yep. Oh, good girl, Aspen. Dead bird.
Oh my God.
Aspen, dead bird. Dead bird, find. Good girl. Fetch, here. Come here, Aspen. Good girl. Here. Good girl. Good girl. Give.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That was the most epic thing I've ever seen.
That was awesome. Good job, Aspen. Good girl.
Wow.
Got our first ruffed grouse of the year.
Good girl, Aspen.
That was pretty.
You shot that right here and it literally landed like 5 feet away.
I know.
That's wild.
You saw her go back on point again over there. I felt like we had to be working. There had to be a bird sitting in here somewhere. It just looked too good.
Yeah.
And she relocated again and finally locked back up on point there, and we started moving towards her in the cover. And this bird got up and flushed, and it came straight to us. And I knew you were right behind me. So I didn't.
Perfect view of it.
So I knew I had no chance to turn back and shoot as it flew over top of my head. And I was like, well, you're right here, buddy, but this is my shot that I gotta take. Yeah, just stay here. Good girl, Aspen. The truck's right there.
Did you get it?
No, I'm pretty sure I missed that bird. Ember.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
I thought so.
Here. Ember, here. Here, girl, give. That is a pretty bird.
It is really pretty.
This is our road bird. We were just driving down this road heading back to the cabin. We saw this grouse standing in the middle of the road, and we let it cross, and we backed up 100 yards, got one of the dogs out. The dog came down here, worked the bird, and it ended up flushing right across the road. And I knocked it down on the first shot. Nice work, Ember. That's a really cool color bird. That's a pretty fan, too. So this evening, I'm gonna go hunt a big patch of hawthorn. This is a pretty big area that just is like a lot of congregated hawthorn in it. And the hawthorn is full this year. There's a lot of it in here. So there's a lot of fruit and soft-massed food on the trees for these birds. And I'm hoping that the birds are gonna be in here feeding this afternoon. Fingers crossed, at least. We'll find out here shortly. But like I said, a lot of hawthorn in here, and it's a pretty good section of it. It's just chocked full of it. And inside this hawthorn is just kind of some open, sparse areas where birds might be sitting on edges. And if we can go in here and find the right bird, we're gonna get a good shooting opportunity. So that's kind of my hope for tonight. I'm gonna go in here, hunt this hawthorn, and hopefully we can come out and move some birds and have one in the bag by the end of our hunt. But it is grouse hunting. Never know what's going to happen. There could be nothing sitting in there. There could easily be no birds in here, but nonetheless, we're going to put it to the test and see if I can find some birds and get some shooting opportunities in here tonight. So let's get to it, get a dog out, and go hunting for the night. Ember. Well, I had to pull an audible for where I'm going to hunt tonight. The spot that I was at, I parked across the road from it because I didn't want to park right where the cover starts on the other side of the road. Got all my stuff on, got the dog out, walked across the road, and there was a truck parked right there where the cover started. I don't know when that person pulled in there or got there, but they were already gone. And my guess is they were in there bow hunting somewhere. And I had no idea where they were at, so I just decided to leave the area, drive down the road, and try something else, because there's enough good habitat in this area where I can find something else to hunt for the night, not knowing where that person was at. So gave the woods over there to them and came over to a spot that this is a 10-year-old cut over here. And there's a swamp with a trail leading through it on the right side here. I'm gonna start by going down this trail. It looked pretty good down in here when I drove in. I'll walk down this trail a little ways, then turn back, hit the cut. Ember just locked up on point right in front of me on the edge of it. Looks pretty damp in here. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a woodcock sitting in here. that's what it was. I really tried to take my time on that one. And I think I came up empty still. When I mounted my gun, it felt weird. And I was like, ugh, that's not right. And I tried repositioning it ever so slightly. And by the time I did that, I tried looking down the barrel. That bird was about gone. Dead bird. Good girl. Fetch here. Nice job. Good girl. This is a really big woodcock. Beautiful bird. Really big woodcock. Nice job by the dog. This morning I'm back at the spot that I was planning on hunting last night, big section of hawthorn. And I didn't go in here and hunt last night because, like I said, when I walked into the cover, there was a truck sitting right there. And I think they were in there bow hunting, but I didn't know exactly where they're at, so I decided just to leave and go down the road and hunt another spot. Ended up moving 2 woodcock and a grouse there last night. Wasn't the spot that I exactly wanted to hunt, but we did find a couple birds at least. But this morning, I'm back here where I wanted to hunt last night, like I said, and I'm gonna go give this a shot this morning. We got what I think is our first frost of the year last night. A little bit of frost on the ground this morning. Well, anyways, it's gonna be cool all day today. Might get a few dogs ran throughout the day, so go give this a shot and see what we find. Yeti. Yeah, this is all hawthorn here on the edge of the road, and this thicket goes pretty deep in here, and this whole area is just loaded with this hawthorn. Yeti just got birdie right here. The side of this trail he cut in. Stopped on point. Cut back to this side now. He's on point right there. Whoa. There it goes. It was in a treetop up there. Let's see if there's another one around here. Yep, there goes another one. Those birds were in this aspen tree right where those branches are snapped up there.
Sorry, we didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, nothing against those guys coming in here and doing some hunting. It's all public land, right? But in that same breath, those guys passed me out in the road and they watched me walk in here and they knew I was in here. And the guy even said when I came up to him, he's like, yeah, we just went farther down the road and parked and walked in here. We saw you walking in. And it's, I don't know, man. It's kind of mixed feelings. You can't stop people from hunting and doing stuff like that because it is all public land. But at the same time, my mindset is if I see somebody going in to hunt a spot, I'm just gonna keep on rolling. There's plenty of areas to hunt. I mean, like you guys saw last night, I came in here and there was a truck parked. Had no idea if they were bird hunting or deer hunting. I was guessing they were deer hunting, and I just decided to leave. I didn't even walk in here. Just turned around and left and went down the road because there's plenty of spots to hunt. And the problem is when you've got groups of people colliding in tight cover, you know, birds might get up. You don't know where people are at exactly with guns in their hands. I mean, it's not a recipe for success, I feel like, you know, in case there's some type of accident that were to happen. And also, too, you've got dogs that are out hunting, doing their thing. They're in the zone, and they come across another dog. They might not be too happy about it. You just never know with dogs in the field either. So if I ever see somebody going into a spot, I'm going a long ways down the road, and I ain't even ever thinking about going to that spot. So it's up to you guys and how you want to hunt and handle situations like that, because obviously it is public land, but that's just my little 2 cents on the whole thing and how I deal with situations like that. If there's somebody hunting with a spot, I ain't gonna go in there tromping in on them. But like I said, everybody's got the right to do what they want, unfortunately, and it's kind of a free-for-all. But my own personal standards and thoughts on the situation is I wouldn't go into a spot that somebody else was already hunting and I knew they were in there. Good bird. Good boy. Good job, Yeti. Nice woodcock sitting there. It's midday now, and I've made my way back to a 15-year-old cut. And since it's only 50 degrees out right now, I can actually hunt all day or during the mid part of the day instead of just hunting mornings or late evenings. And during this midday time period, I do try and hunt some aspen cuts or a little bit thicker cover, because those birds really only come out to that open style type cover first thing in the morning when they're feeding or late in the evening when they're feeding. So since I can hunt midday today, I'm gonna go into this cut. It looks pretty good. There's a few open pockets in it where there's some big mature oak trees that were left. So hopefully those oaks are dropping some acorns. And like I said, this cover looks really good overall. So hopefully I can find a few birds just lounging out through here in midday along some edges and some shadows, and we'll see what we can find. Fox. Well, that happened fast. I mean, I'm literally right here at the truck. I heard the dog stop, and I was just turning around to look at her, and that bird jumped up and took flight right behind me. I winged it. Fetch. Good girl, Fox. Good girl, here. Well, we're on the board. Young bird. Bird from this year. And the truck is right there, 20 feet away. All right, come on, let's go. There goes another one. That's 3 birds that have taken off. This spot right here. A few of you guys have asked how the ticks have been this year. And early in the season, I normally don't find too many. But once October rolls around and it gets a little cooler out, I start finding ticks. So I just got done with my walk here. I'm looking Fox over. And she's got 4 of them right there on top of her head. There's a 5th on the side of her head. 3 or 4 of them on the back of her neck here. And I'm sure there's a few more around. So I'm gonna pull the ticks off her. And this is about average of what I've seen the last couple days here. I've been pulling anywhere from 5 to 10 ticks off the dogs per walk. So It's that time of year where the ticks come out. Ended up moving some birds on that last walk. We moved 10 grouse, but the only one that I could get a shot at was that first one that we moved right at the truck. That was pretty crazy that that bird sat right there. I mean, 50 yards away from the truck while I was messing around, getting ready, and gosh, I was probably outside doing things for a good 15 minutes. And those two birds that were sitting there sat for that long. But anyways, from there we moved another 9 grouse, and I didn't get shots at any of them. Just barely saw any of them. The dog would go on point, and I'd get up to her, and the birds would just start flushing out in front of us. But anyways, gonna give it a shot this evening, going into a spot where I'm just gonna hunt some trails and logging roads through a couple different cuts. One's like 17, 18 years old, and then the other one is 10 years old. So got a couple different cuts in the area, a lot of pines that are mixed in, and some good looking cover. I was thinking of taking a gamble and going back into a different section that's in the opposite direction of where I'm gonna head tonight. There's some open, sparse looking cover back there, but I just think it's too open. I don't think it's quite what I'm looking for. It's real grassy with just a couple clumps of shrubs here or there mixed in. I've been wanting to try it back there, but I just don't think it's quite what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna stick to hunting the cut tonight, and we'll see what happens. Here. Settle down. Good. Good. You ready? Aspen. Aspen is just full of it. She gets pretty vocal, and it's just her personality. Aspen's on point in here, 60 yards from me. Oh, it's a woodcock. It's right there on the ground. There's a dog. Dead bird. Good job, dead bird. Dead bird. Dead bird. Nice catch, Aspen. Fetch here. Good girl here. Good job, fetch here. Good job, girl. Nice work. Another big doodle. Good job. Good job, Aspen. It's a good girl. Nice work. That was a nice catch. Bird had a little life to him still. Popped up and he went, jump. Give me that. Nice work. Now let the dog circle the area just a little bit because she got a little birdie over here. She locked up on point. 45 yards from me. She's right there. Oh, man, that grouse was sitting right underneath this pine. We had that bird pinched perfectly. Good job, Aspen. But that bird got up. He was hunkered down in some of these ferns and grass here, and all of a sudden I seen this foliage start wiggling and this bird's trying to get up out of it, and it couldn't quite take flight. And when it finally did get up off the ground, the dog had broke at that point because she had seen it trying to get up off the ground. And that bird finally took flight, and it didn't get even more than a foot off the ground. The dog almost had it there. Nice job, Aspen. It's pretty chilly out this morning. It got down into the mid-20s last night, and we had a really, really hard frost this morning. So I think that was our big first frost of the year. And this last couple days of this cooler weather's been nice, and especially the bugs. Bugs are all gone now. Bugs have been completely disappeared. No gnats, no flies, no mosquitoes, nothing. It's been nice. So it's been good to have some cooler weather over the last couple days, but we're not done quite yet. I'm gonna go run a spot this morning. That's a 10-year-old cut. I'm gonna work my way down an old logging trail through there, and there's a lot of sun that's hitting that trail right now, so hopefully there's some birds that are out trying to sun themselves and warm up for the morning before they feed. And that's the plan. I'm gonna go in there, get a dog on the ground, and we'll see what happens. Ember. Well, if there was any image that could sum up what it's like to be grouse hunting in October, this would be it. Sun coming up over the tops of the aspen trees. The leaves are burning with a yellow tint to them. Frost on the ground. It's quiet, it's still out. It's picture perfect. Still just been making my way down the trail through this cut. Ember has been casting back and forth on each side, and she just locked up on point in here. There she is right there. Dead bird. Good job, Ember. Here. Good job. This looks like picture perfect woodcock habitat. I see it right there on the ground. Dog's right there. Bird's about 10 feet in front of her, straight in front of me. Let's see if I can not mess this up. Dead bird. Good job, Ember. Here. 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 Nice work. Good job, girl. Good job. Every time a woodcock comes back to me, my first thing to always do is look at the legs, trying to see if it's got a band on it or not. No band on this one. Maybe one day. This is a really, really nice cut for woodcock. This is just like picture perfect woodcock habitat. The soil in it's real dark, it's real wet. There's a lot of moisture around in here. The aspen is just like picture perfect size. This cut's 10 years old, and it's just starting to get to the age where like there's some gaps and lanes between the trees. I don't really like hunting stuff any younger than this because it gets really tight really fast. And once they hit that 10-year mark, it seems like you start to get a little bit of space between the trees, and it's a lot easier to walk through. Whenever I see raspberries like this too, you can see this whole place is just loaded with these raspberry leaves. When I see that, I know it's got good soil in it, because when you've got good dark wet soil, it's going to produce a lot of these, and that's what those woodcock are in here for, that dark soil, so they can probe into the ground. This is really good grouse habitat too. I almost feel like it's just a little bit too early in the day for grouse to be in here though. If this was midday, mid-afternoon, we might find some grouse in here, but I think these grouse are out feeding somewhere else right now, or they still could be up in treetops feeding on buds. Because that heavy frost last night made everything really, really wet. And I found that when the cover is really, really wet after a hard frost, those birds generally don't go into that cover when it's really wet because the bird doesn't want to get wet. I'm not exactly sure where they go. That part is still a mystery to me. Sometimes they go out to more open areas, or sometimes I think they just stay up in the treetops until stuff dries out. Anyways, that's just kind of the thoughts of a grouse hunter. I don't know if any of it's true or not. That's just kind of what I've seen over my short period of 8 years or so of grouse hunting. Anyways, dog's working in front of me again, so I'm gonna go catch up to her. I've just been standing here enjoying the sunlight a little bit, letting the dog wander, let her do her thing, because I haven't came across a whole lot, and she's just been reaching out, cutting through this aspen, and I'm sure there's some more woodcock in here, and that's what I've been kind of letting her do, is just roll through here, and if she finds something, I'll go to her. She ended up on point, so she's 85 yards from me in here, so I'm gonna make my way to her. She's probably got another woodcock locked down. There she is. I can see her little butt just up on top of that ridge and her tail poking up. Looks a little grousier in here. Maybe there's a grouse in here. Yep, it was a grouse. So I was just talking about wondering where the grouse would be. And this is where that bird was sitting. Right on the edge of this aspen, underneath this little white pine, that bird was sitting right there. And I don't know if you guys can tell this in video or not, but this little high point right here, compared to down lower in the cut, this is all dry up here. This is completely dry up here. It's all wet down in that cut, down a little bit lower. So I'd imagine that's probably why that grouse was sitting up here, because it's dry. That bird was sitting right underneath this little white pine right here, and it took off and went that way. And when it flew, it didn't fly that high. I didn't have a good shot at it because the dog was right there. That bird was so low. I've just been standing here again, letting the dog work. She did a couple circles out this way, zigzagged back and forth from the edge to the cut. She went on point 85 yards from me, so I'm gonna move up to her now. Right there. The bird. That was cool. That was crazy seeing that bird get up. Just the erraticness of it, twisted and winding as it pulled up out of the canopy. And I was really just waiting for my shot, waiting. It crossed right here into this open area, and I got a good look at it there. Dead bird. That's our third woodcock of the day, so that's our limit this morning, a woodcock. Ember, dead bird. Here. Good job, girl. Nice work. Okay, we've got our scratch off ticket here. We think it's gonna be a winner. I haven't looked at the feet yet. Not a winner. Nice bird though. Beautiful woodcock. Big bird too. One of these days we're gonna have a winner and have a band on it. Well, it all comes down to this. I'm about to go out on my last walk for this trip. It's going on 5:30 right now, so it's getting late in the evening. And I'm gonna go into a spot that is one big, giant, continuous swath of aspen. There's 2 different age class cuts here. The one on the right side of the trail that I'm gonna walk down is 15 years old, and the one on the left side of the trail is 9 years old. And they're both 190 acres. So there's almost 400 acres total of just continuous aspen here. I've hunted here before in the past, and it does hold a lot of birds, but the only problem is it's just such a big piece, it's hard to pinpoint and narrow down exactly where you're gonna run into birds at. But I've got an idea of where we might run into some birds tonight. At the back side of one of these cuts, the younger one, there's a riparian corridor, kind of like a dried up creek bed that runs along the edge of that cut next to the hardwoods. And in that creek bed is just kind of some sparse open cover and a lot of hawthorn that's mixed in. So the idea is that hopefully there's some birds that are going to come out and to feed in the last couple hours of daylight on that hawthorn in there. And hopefully we should get some clear shooting opportunities at those birds if they're in there. And I'm gonna do something a little different tonight. I'm gonna take 2 dogs with me, try and up my chances of finding birds, just because this area is so big, there's a lot of ground here to cover. So I'm gonna take Yeti and Aspen together and try and cover some ground and hopefully find some birds. So I'm gonna load up the dogs and go see what we can get into tonight. Hopefully we'll come across some grouse. We got our woodcock out of the way this morning, got our limit on 3 woodcock, and now we just need to find some grouse. Okay. And they're off. Let's go find some birds, dogs. This cut is finally starting to come into age. It's 9 years old now. Been coming back here for a few years, but when I first started coming here, this cut was barely as tall as I was. I could see over top of it. But now it's getting to the right size, right height. It looks beautiful. It's a really good looking cut. This is just a giant piece of continuous aspen, like I said earlier. And this cut is finally looking like it's worthy of holding grouse. A few years I've been hunting here, I've been ignoring this cut just because it was too young. But now it looks to be about ideal. Both the dogs locked up on point in here. 45 yards in. There's Aspen. She's back in Yeti. There's Yeti. Both dogs locked up right there. There it goes, it's a woodcock. I had just spotted the bird on the ground there. Good job, dogs. Nice work, the 2 of you together. That was pretty. Both dogs locked up on point together. I wish I could have shot that bird, but we've got our woodcock for the day. Here. Both dogs are locked up. It was a woodcock. So in front of me here, this is that little creek bed, riparian corridor, whatever you want to call it. And it runs along the edge of this cut over here to the left and these hardwoods. So I'm gonna snake my way down it and see if there's anything in it. Yeti swung out to the side of the cut, worked back behind me. He's on point back there, 80 yards, so make my way to him, see what he's got. Feel a little bit out of my element because for some reason my watch isn't connecting to my GPS anymore. And I've got to look down at my handheld unit, see where the dog's at. It's not that big of a deal, it's just not something I'm really used to. You become so accustomed to set in your ways that any little change kind of throws you off. Dead bird! I think I got it on the second shot. Dead bird! Good job, Yeti. Good boy. Good boy. I thought I dumped it on the second shot. Bring. Good boy. Good job. Nice work, Yeti. I knew there was a grouse running around on us in here. Yeti kept going from point to point. Aspen was pointing. I'm going, man. And they're pointing in two different locations. And they keep circling each other, pointing and pointing. And I was like, there's got to be a grouse running in here. And sure enough, I caught up to Yeti here. And he just slowly started working up in front of me. And I was like, whatever, buddy. You know this bird's running. I'm going to let you do your thing. Eventually that bird took flight, got up in front of us here, and I couldn't quite get my gun mounted, and I missed it. Swung that gun out as far as I could in front of the bird, and I had a little opening, pulled the trigger, and I thought I saw it drop going into the sunlight. Nice work. Good job, dogs. Yep, there it goes. Good job, Yeti. Well, I'm working my way back to the truck now, but I'm running out of daylight. And that was a really fun hunt. Dogs found a lot of birds, and I think we found almost about every single woodcock in the county. Gosh, I don't even know how many woodcock we moved. I would guess upwards of 30. 30 woodcock I would put it at. I decided to make my way back through the cut to get back to this trail, and that was kind of a mistake because every single woodcock that's in the area felt like it was in that cut, and the dogs kept going deeper and deeper into it and pulling me off my track to get back, and they were just going from bird to bird to bird, pointing all these woodcock. I mean, it was fun, but at a point it was getting annoying because I could just not get the dogs out of there, and I could not keep going the direction that I wanted to go because they kept going from bird to bird, and I couldn't call them off of them. They wouldn't come. They just would stand there and point that woodcock, and I'd have to go and turn back 60 yards and go flush it for them. But we did get a grouse. I think we moved 5 grouse in there. That was a really fun walk overall. Good couple days of hunting. Glad that the weather has finally cooled down. Hope you guys are taking advantage of this cooler weather. Whether you're out west somewhere chasing prairie birds or hunting grouse here in the Northwoods, it's a good time to be out there following your bird dogs. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Good couple days of hunting. Thank you for following along. Hope you guys enjoy this content. Hope you learned something from it. I'm still trying to learn things myself. Try and learn something new every time, but I hope you guys can take something away from following along on these videos. And anyways, I'll see you guys back out there on the next one, and good luck.